every dawn begins a new hunt. Hunter and prey share the same fear. One moment, too slow, and fate is sealed. Because in this world, survival is everything. Somewhere on the East African savannah, a young male lion stands motionless at the edge of the pride he was born into. He is 2 years old, and he is no longer welcome. His mother watches from the shade of an acacia tree. She does not call him back. She does not follow. A lioness knows what must happen, even when every instinct resists it. Within hours, he will walk into open grassland with nothing. No territory, no allies, no experience, and no guarantee of a next meal. "60% of young males exiled this way will not survive their first year alone. The savannah does not forgive inexperience." This is not cruelty. This is the oldest law of the pride, a law written not in stone, but in 40 million years of evolution. To understand why he must leave, we must first understand what he is leaving behind and why it works. A lion pride is not a random gathering of animals. It is a society ancient, structured, and governed by rules that would surprise anyone who believes the male is king. The truth is simpler and far more remarkable than any myth. The pride belongs to the females. It has always belonged to them. Daughters stay, sons leave. Mothers, sisters, aunts, and cousins form bonds that last a lifetime, hunting together, raising cubs together, defending territory side by side. The males may wear the crown, but the females built the kingdom, and they are the ones who keep it standing. On the open plains, a group of lionesses moves in formation. 2 on the flanks, 1 in the center. They have rehearsed this coordinated ambush across 1,000 generations. Their success rate hovers around 20 to 30%. 7 out of 10 hunts end in nothing. But failure does not discourage a lioness. It sharpens her. What most people never witness is what happens after the hunt. The pride reunites. Heads press together. Flanks brush against flanks. A low rumble passes between them. This is not mere affection. Each greeting releases oxytocin, the same hormone that bonds a human mother to her child. In a pride, touch is survival. Every lion carries a unique scent signature. When pride members rub faces, they blend their scents into a shared chemical profile, a passport that separates family from intruder. When cubs arrive, the pride transforms. Mothers nurse each other's young without hesitation, a communal nursery where no cub goes hungry while one mother still has milk. Synchronized breeding ensures that cubs are born together. A dozen lives in a single week. Predators cannot take them all. Sheer numbers become the first defense. But the arithmetic is brutal. Only 4 out of every 10 cubs will reach their second birthday. Hyenas, starvation, disease, and rival males all collect their toll. And here lies the paradox that disturbs every observer. When a new coalition of males conquers a pride, they kill the existing cubs, every single one. It is not rage. It is not madness. It is evolution's coldest equation. A female who loses her cubs becomes receptive within weeks. The new male's genes advance. The old ones vanish. The resident males, the ones the world calls lazy, are anything but idle. GPS tracking reveals a pride. Male patrols 20 kilometers every night, marking borders and confronting hyenas in the dark. His roar carries 8 kilometers through the darkness, 114 decibels, louder than a rock concert. It is not a threat, it is a declaration. I am here. This ground is mine. But no rain lasts forever. 2 years, perhaps 4. Then younger, stronger males arrive, and the old king walks into the tall grass, alone. This is where the exiled young male finds his purpose. After months of wandering and starving and scavenging scraps from other predators, he finds a brother, and everything changes. A coalition of 2 or 3 males is exponentially more powerful than one. Together, they hunt larger prey. Together, they challenge established kings. Together, they can conquer a pride. Brotherhood is not sentiment on the savannah. It is mathematics. A lone male has almost no chance of holding territory. A coalition of 3 can hold it for years. And so the wheel turns. Exile becomes alliance. Alliance becomes conquest. Conquest becomes reign. Reign becomes exile once more. What makes lions extraordinary is not their strength, nor their speed, nor the roar that shakes the night. It is their devotion to community. Cooperation, coordination, sacrifice. These are the forces that built the pride and kept it standing across millennia on the African plains. But Africa is not the only place on Earth where these ancient principles govern life and death. "5,000 miles to the north, where temperatures plunge to -40 and darkness consumes 20 hours of every winter day, another social predator lives by the same unbreakable rule: hunt together or starve alone. In a land called Yukon, 186,000 square miles of wilderness at the northwestern edge of Canada, the wolves are waiting. And on the frost-covered peaks above them, a great migration has already begun. Across the frost-laden peaks of the Ogilvy Mountains, an immense column of life moves slowly through the valley below. Tens of thousands of porcupine caribou press steadily southward through the fading amber light of an Arctic autumn. They do not stop. They have never stopped. For thousands of years, this march has continued without fail. This is Yukon, 186,000 square miles of unbroken wilderness at the far northwestern edge of Canada, a territory so vast and remote that population density falls below 1/10 of a person per square mile. Mount Logan rises 19,551 feet into the Arctic sky, the highest peak in all of Canada, where the clouds themselves are forced to bow beneath its frozen summit. The Ogilvy, Street Elias, and Mackenzie ranges stand shoulder to shoulder like ancient fortress walls, sheltering the land that the Gwich'in people have called the Great River since time beyond memory. Kluane National Park, designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1979, safeguards one of the last truly pristine ecosystems remaining anywhere in North America. "348 bird species, more than 60 mammal species, and millions of acres of taiga forests stretch unbroken across the landscape to the distant horizon. Yet beneath this spectacular beauty lies a merciless law, one that governs every creature dwelling within its borders. Each season in Yukon rewrites the rules of survival from the ground up. Each season forces every living creature, from the smallest lemming to the largest bear, to make a single, irrevocable decision. Welcome to WildVerse, where we explore the most extraordinary stories the natural world has to offer. Stay or go. Migrate across 1,500 miles of frozen, windswept tundra, or dig in and endure a winter plunging to 40 below. The answer is not as simple as it seems, and the price of choosing wrong for any species in any season is everything. Autumn has begun to descend across Yukon, painting the taiga in fire and gold. The first movement in the great four-season cycle has sounded its opening note. On the vast tundra steppe, the caribou have already started walking. They know something that we, as observers, can only stand and witness from afar. Time waits for no creature in this land. Every hour of delay carries a price measured in survival. From the windswept coastal plains of the Beaufort Sea, more than 143,000 porcupine caribou begin the greatest overland migration anywhere in North America. 1,500 miles each year, a vast migratory circle that no other land mammal on this continent has ever matched in recorded history. They cross the formidable Ogilvy Range, heading toward the sheltered Porcupine River Valley, where vast expanses of taiga forest await the approaching winter. The coat of the porcupine caribou is an engineering marvel shaped by millennia of Arctic evolution. Two thick layers of fur stack upon one another. The inner layer traps body heat, while the outer repels wind, rain, and snow. As the seasons shift, their coat gradually transitions from deep brown in summer to pale grey in winter, a flawless camouflage meticulously tailored to every landscape they traverse. Both male and female porcupine caribou grow antlers, a biological trait entirely unique among all deer species anywhere on Earth. In the traditional knowledge of the Gwich'in, caribou herds do not move at random. A lead animal always breaks the trail. In autumn and spring, the experienced females lead the herd. When deep snow buries the tundra beyond recognition, the strongest males assume the vanguard position. Thousands of years of patient observation have taught the Gwich'in and Vuntut Gwich'in peoples what modern science is only now beginning to understand and document. On the migration route, caribou do far more than simply pass through the landscape they feed constantly. Foraging tactics shift with each change in terrain and altitude. In low productivity zones, short grasses offer quick nutrition. But upon reaching the southern forests, lichen becomes the target, even at the cost of competition with other species. And something remarkable happens in the very midst of this grueling migration. The mating season begins, while the herd is still pressing forward across the open tundra. Males compete with deep bellowing calls and thunderous clashing of antlers that echo across the valleys for miles. But the females do not simply choose the strongest contender. They select males with endurance, with superior pathfinding ability qualities, forged through hardship that will pass down to the next generation of survivors. The rut ends as suddenly as it began, but the march does not falter for a moment. The herd presses south through wind-scoured mountain passes where gales cut like frozen blades. The hooves of hundreds of thousands of caribou carve trails deep into the tundra, altering vegetation in ways no other creature can achieve. When winter finally fades and snowmelt floods the tundra, fresh grasses will sprout along those very trails, a quiet act of renewal, orchestrated by hooves that never intended to plant a single seed. According to the 2025 survey, the porcupine herd numbers roughly 143,000, a significant decline from the peak of 218,000 in 2017. Though still within the green zone under the harvest management plan, the downward trend casts a heavy question over every migration season. But caribou do not concern themselves with statistics or population surveys. They know only one imperative: to walk, and the shortening days of autumn drive them faster. Ahead lies the Richardson Range, where the wind howls without ceasing across exposed ridgelines, and the first heavy snow of the season has already begun to fall. Each step across the frozen tundra carries them closer to the sheltered valleys where they will spend the winter and closer to the predators that are already waiting in the shadows. Caribou droppings, the most unassuming substance imaginable, contain remarkably high levels of nitrogen, quietly fertilizing the tundra along every migration corridor. That nitrogen seeps deep into the permafrost soil, stimulating plant recovery and helping the tundra regenerate faster after drought seasons or when spring snowmelt arrives late. A domino effect begins to cascade through the ecosystem. Healthier tundra produces healthier forests to the south, and a small, fiercely territorial resident is counting on exactly that. Red squirrels, creatures that never hibernate, survive on enormous food caches called middens. Nitrogen from caribou dung strengthens the forest, boosts spruce cone production, and delivers more provisions to the squirrels. Each red squirrel defends its territory with shrill, piercing calls and startling ferocity disproportionate to its tiny frame. They stockpile thousands of spruce cones for winter, the survival strategy of those who stay behind. But red squirrels are not the only ones who recognize the value of the migrating herd. Ravens, the most intelligent birds of the subarctic trail caribou for hundreds of miles. They do not follow the herd out of loyalty or kinship. They wait for carcasses, steal food from other scavengers, and remember the precise location of every feast for weeks on end. Ravens' fake alarm calls to trick other animals into abandoning food, and they fearlessly harass bald eagles in mid-flight despite the dramatic and dangerous difference in size. From caribou to dung, from dung to soil, from soil to forest, from forest to squirrels and ravens, an invisible chain of interdependence so intricate that only the patient hand of nature could have woven it. Porcupine caribou do not know they are ecosystem engineers of continental scale. But every migratory step they take reshapes the living world around them in ways both visible and unseen. Not every caribou chooses the longest road. The 40-mile herd, numbering roughly 84,000 migrates, far shorter distances, only a few hundred miles around the 40-mile river region. Smaller than the porcupine caribou, nutritionally disadvantaged by their limited range, the 40-mile herd exemplifies a different strategy. Travel not far, but travel smart. Smaller groups, closer to the taiga. When winter strikes, 40-mile caribou shelter beneath the forest canopy, while the porcupine herd treks hundreds of miles in search of lichen. Two fundamentally different strategies. One shared objective: survive the Yukon winter. But the costs, the risks, and the rewards could not be more different. Historically, these two herds almost never meet, but rare events in the 1960s and in 1979 witnessed something unusual. Porcupine caribou strayed deep into 40-mile territory. No conflict erupted. No competition for resources materialized. The two herds quietly avoided each other and continued along their separate ancestral paths. Nature in Yukon rarely wastes precious energy on unnecessary conflict between closely related populations. How long that precarious equilibrium endures, no one can say with certainty. But as autumn yields to the first bitter winds of winter, both herds sense the same unsettling truth. The real test has not yet begun. Temperatures begin their inexorable descent below zero. Streams freeze inward from their banks, the ice creeping toward the center of each current, slowly, like a breath fading to silence. Darkness lengthens with each passing day, swallowing more sunlight with every rotation of the Earth. At this latitude, winter does not simply arrive, it devours everything in its path. In the deep shadows of the taiga forest, amber eyes are watching every movement with predatory patience, and three formidable tundra hunters are preparing for a confrontation of their own. Winter in Yukon is not a test that rewards effort. It is a verdict final, absolute, and without appeal. By late October, winter locks its grip on Yukon. Temperatures plunge from 20 below to 40 below zero Fahrenheit, and darkness blankets nearly 20 hours of every day. The porcupine caribou reach the Richardson Range, where constant winds sweep the mountain slopes, preventing deep snow accumulation and exposing precious lichen patches beneath. This is no accident of geography. Thousands of generations of caribou have discovered through trial and loss that wind is their greatest ally, clearing away the snow to reveal the last remaining food. Caribou fur is engineered for extreme cold with astonishing precision. Each individual hair is hollow like a tiny tube, trapping a thick layer of insulating air within its structure. Their noses serve as a natural heating system, warming frigid air before it reaches the lungs, preventing the body from losing heat from within. Their broad, paddle-like hooves function as shovels, scraping through snow to reach lichen while maintaining balance on slick ice. A caribou's body can withstand 58 degrees below zero Fahrenheit, a threshold that would kill most mammals within hours. But the true challenge is not temperature, it is hunger, and the predators lurking in the perpetual darkness. 40-mile caribou choose a markedly different approach to winter. They shelter beneath the heavy taiga canopy in smaller groups, moving as little as possible, conserving every calorie of energy while the porcupine herd toils through open snow. A third group receives far less attention, the boreal woodland caribou. They live alone or in small clusters within the flat forests and wetlands east of the Peel River. Weighing between 265 and 465 pounds, standing roughly 3 to 4 feet at the shoulder, woodland caribou are larger than tundra caribou, but far more sedentary. They embody the purest form of the stay strategy. No migration, no massive herds, only quiet persistence deep within the taiga where snowpack runs deepest. 3 types of caribou, 3 strategies, 1 question. Go far, go short, or stay put. Yukon's winter tests them all. 2 overwintering strategies. Face the blizzard head on, or vanish into the shelter of the forest. Neither is easier than the other. But caribou are not the only creatures undertaking a remarkable and perilous migration through the vast wilderness of Yukon. Chinook salmon, the ultimate migrant of the freshwater world, travel more than 2,000 miles from the open Pacific Ocean into the Yukon River to fulfill the single, consuming purpose of their existence: to spawn and to die. For nearly 3 months, they eat nothing at all. Their bodies disintegrate from within, muscles waste away, skin darkens to crimson, jaws twist and deform, all to channel every last reserve into their eggs. And then they die, every single one. Each salmon carcass becomes a source of nitrogen and phosphorus, nourishing the forests and mountains along both riverbanks. A sacrifice more absolute than any other creature on this planet can offer. Chinook salmon live solely to die, and in dying they sustain an entire ecosystem that depends on their return. But Canadian-origin Chinook salmon populations have collapsed to critical levels. Return numbers have hit record lows, falling far below 1/3 of the minimum threshold needed to sustain the species. A 7-year fishing moratorium from 2024 to 2030 has been enacted between Canada and Alaska, targeting the recovery of 71,000 fish crossing the border. Will 7 years of enforced silence along these ancient waterways be enough to bring the river back to teeming life? The answer belongs to nature, to patience, and to time alone. While salmon sacrifice their bodies to feed the river and its forests, caribou out on the wind-blasted tundra are burning through precious energy reserves with every labored step through the snow. Metabolism slows to a crawl, conserving every calorie with ruthless efficiency. Bodies survive on the fat painstakingly accumulated during summer. With each passing day, those vital reserves grow dangerously thinner. But the greatest danger facing these caribou comes not from the cold or from starvation alone. It comes from the creatures that have been watching them patiently from across the snow-filled valley. The Arctic fox, the tundra's most ancient and enduring resident, wears the purest white winter coat that the natural world has ever produced. Not a streak, not a spot. Winter fur grows twice as thick as summer coat, enveloping the entire body from nose to tail like soft armor. The Arctic fox's biological clock is tuned to photoperiod, the duration of daylight each day. As light diminishes, the coat begins its seasonal transformation. Their hunting strategy depends entirely on hearing. Beneath thick snow, lemmings move through tunnels, and the Arctic fox hears every footstep. They tilt their head, calculate the position, then plunge straight down, both forepaws piercing the snow like arrows. The precision defies belief. Arctic foxes also practice caching, burying food beneath the snow to eat gradually through winter, like a network of pantries scattered across their territory. But the white fox's ancient dominance over the tundra is under mounting threat. From the warming south, a larger and more adaptable invader advances a little further with every passing season. Red fox's newcomers to Yukon since the early 20th century have by 2025 spread throughout the region, from taiga valleys to the tundra's edge. 20 to 30% larger than the Arctic fox, red foxes carry a size advantage in every direct encounter. Unlike Arctic foxes, red foxes rely on sight and speed rather than hearing. They do not need to detect prey beneath the snow, they spot it and give chase. Shorter winters, thinner snow cover driven by a warming climate, all of it creates ideal conditions for a southern species to thrive on land that was never theirs. Most alarming of all, red foxes are seizing the dens and rock caves that Arctic foxes have used for generations, directly threatening the breeding sites and nursery shelters of the native species. Red foxes eat nearly anything: lemmings, voles, birds, caribou carcasses, even refuse from remote settlements. That versatility is a weapon the Arctic fox does not possess. And unlike the Arctic fox, the red fox rarely caches food for future use. It lives entirely for the present moment, eat now, claim now, and never wait for tomorrow. This silent invasion is not merely a story between two fox species. It is a warning signal that the Arctic ecosystem is broadcasting to the entire world. But on the frozen tundra, a third hunter operates quieter than either, and more lethal than both. The snowy owl flies in absolute silence. Specialized feathers with velvet soft edges absorb every trace of sound, turning each dive into a death that arrives without warning. Lemmings account for more than 70% of the snowy owl's diet during breeding season, the very same food source upon which the Arctic fox depends for survival. Unlike most owls, the snowy owl hunts during both day and night, the supreme advantage in a land where light and darkness alternate on the Arctic's own terms. They fly low, skimming the ground from cliff perches or snow mounds, then strike at high-speed talons, sharp as blades piercing prey before it can react. And here lies the unexpected and devastating twist in this three-way competitive triangle. Adult snowy owls regularly steal food directly from Arctic foxes. One more layer of pressure bearing down on a white fox, already pushed southward by the red fox. Caught between two rivals, the Arctic fox faces a battle for survival on its own homeland. Data from Project Snowstorm in 2024 reveals that snowy owl numbers in northwestern Canada are rising. Welcome news for the owl, but another burden for the Arctic fox. Lemming population stability determines everything. When lemmings are abundant, all three hunters coexist. When lemmings crash, a three-way war erupts without mercy. Three winter hunters. Which one owns the smartest strategy? Arctic fox, red fox, or snowy owl? Let WildVerse know in the comments below. The winter tundra appears utterly silent, a blank canvas of ice and snow stretching to the horizon. But beneath that white surface, a life and death struggle never rests for a single moment. And while three small hunters compete for lemmings on the tundra, a true sovereign is moving through the snowy forest below. The grey wolf, the undisputed alpha predator of the Yukon's taiga ecosystem, has no need to compete for lemmings or voles. Its targets are far larger, far more dangerous, and far more rewarding. Between 4,500 and 5,000 grey wolves range across Yukon, according to Yukon environment data. This ranks among the largest wolf populations remaining in North America. Each pack numbers 5 to 12 members, moving like a military unit through snow-filled valleys and forested mountains, tracking caribou for dozens of miles without tiring. The alpha pair leads, deciding direction, timing the attack, dividing the kill. Behind them, young wolves learn by watching. Every hunt is a lesson. Communication within the pack unfolds through haunting howls echoing across snow-filled valleys, through subtle body posture, through fleeting eye contact. A single glance from the alpha can redirect the entire pack in absolute silence. Winter terrain is the wolf's ally. Narrow valleys, dense forest, steep mountain flanks, all of it enables flawless ambush tactics. Wolves do not waste energy chasing prey across open, featureless plains. They deliberately funnel quarry into terrain that restricts both visibility and escape routes. But the grey wolf is no indiscriminate killer. Wolves are highly selective hunters, targeting the old, the injured, the frail, the sick, or the very young. Observe first, assess, then decide whether to attack or let go. Most pursuits end when the wolves themselves withdraw the quarry too strong, the energy cost too great. This selective strategy does more than improve success rates. It maintains the genetic health of the caribou herd, culling the weakest individuals across thousands of generations. A paradox of the wild so profound it borders on philosophy. The predator safeguards the strength of its prey. Without wolves, caribou herds would slowly deteriorate from within, weakened by the very individuals that survive unchallenged. When wolves do strike, their coordination is fearsome. One group drives head-on, forcing caribou toward an ambushed team already waiting in the forest or behind a mountain ridge. Wolves encircle, isolate the weakest from the herd, and drive it into forest or mountainside where caribou lose their speed advantage. Once the quarry is cut off, the outcome is all but sealed. Caribou respond with the only defense their evolution has given them: constant, tireless movement. To stand still is to die. To run is to live, even though every stride burns energy that cannot be replaced. The herd maintains tight formation through danger zones. The strongest males flank the outside. Females and calves shelter in the center, a defensive line forged by instinct. But in deep snow, caribou hold an advantage of their own. Broad hooves distribute weight, allowing them to sprint across snow where wolves sink deeper with every step. Winter transforms every chase into a grinding war of attrition, played out across miles of frozen terrain. Wolves possess superior endurance. Caribou possess explosive speed. Whichever exhausts its reserves first loses. On certain nights, wolf howls carry through the Richardson Valley like the oldest song the world has ever known. The caribou hear it and begin to move even through total darkness. Pressure from wolves ensures caribou never remain in one place too long. That perpetual unease, ironically, drives them to discover new lichen patches they would otherwise never have found. Caribou metabolism declines as winter deepens. Bodies shift into conservation mode, surviving on fat reserves stored during summer. No food, no liquid water. Snow becomes the sole source of hydration. Each day is a struggle between conserving energy and fleeing predators. The weakest caribou fall first, their strength finally spent. Their carcasses feed wolves, feed ravens, feed the red foxes, steadily expanding their territory, a food chain that operates with brutal efficiency even in the most extreme cold. But the survivors, the strongest, the most cunning, the luckiest, continue walking through deep snow every single day. Within the bellies of the surviving females, new life is quietly forming. Caribou fetuses develop throughout the long winter darkness, nourished by the very fat reserves that are slowly and steadily draining from their mothers' bodies. They await what ancient instinct has always foretold, what 10,000 generations have confirmed. The light will return, the snow will melt, spring will come. And when the deep snowpack begins to soften, when the first warm winds sweep through the Richardson Range, the surviving caribou quietly turn northward. The wolf pack halts at the tree line, as though an invisible border runs along the forest's edge. They do not follow caribou onto the coastal plain that is not wolf territory. The winter hunt is over. The caribou begin a new chapter in the most tenacious overland odyssey in North America. Ahead lies the Beaufort coastal plain, where the next generation will be born. But spring in Yukon carries no promise of peace. It is when the two largest terrestrial predators awaken from dormancy and caribou are about to give birth, surrounded by fangs, claws, and insatiable hunger. April arrives at last. Temperatures edge upward from 20 below to the mid-30s Fahrenheit. The ice on the Yukon River begins to fracture, releasing sharp, cracking sounds that echo through the valleys like the snapping of ancient bones. Clear water flows for the first time in 6 months. Snow on the Richardson slopes melts into thousands of small streams, pouring down onto the Beaufort coastal plain. Spring in Yukon does not arrive gradually. It erupts within weeks. Temperatures can surge to the 50s and 60s Fahrenheit, transforming white tundra into a fragile carpet of new green. Sedge, lichen, and willow sprout, after months dormant beneath the snow. This is the most nutrient-rich food source of the entire year, and the pregnant caribou need it more than ever. From the Richardson Range, the porcupine caribou begin their reverse migration across the North Slope, heading for the Beaufort coastal plain. Females lead the way. Heavy with unborn calves, they press forward without pause across the thawing, treacherous tundra and ancient instinct compelling them to reach the right place at precisely the right time. The Beaufort Plain did not become the calving ground by chance. Predator density along the coast runs 30 to 40% lower than inland calf survival rates increase significantly. Peak calving falls within the first week of June, between the 1st and the 7th. More than 75% of caribou cows give birth during that narrow window. Seven days that determine the future of the entire herd. Synchronized calving is an evolutionary strategy. So many newborns arriving at once overwhelms predators' capacity to kill them all. Newborn caribou are desperately vulnerable in their first week. Legs trembling, eyes unaccustomed to light, entirely dependent on their mother's milk. But within hours of birth, they must stand and run. There is no second option on a plain where grizzly bears are on patrol. Bull caribou use antlers and hooves to defend the calving grounds. They stand sentinel at the herd's edge, scanning the flat tundra vigilant against every approaching shape. Afterbirth and placenta from the calving season deliver nitrogen and microorganisms into the soil, stimulating stronger sedge and willow growth, igniting the spring nutrient cycle for the entire ecosystem. But the scent of blood and fresh afterbirth is also a powerful invitation carried far on the Arctic wind, and Yukon's two largest predators have already caught the scent. The grizzly bear, after months of hibernation, re-emerges onto the freshly thawed floodplain. Starving and gaunt, it needs protein immediately. A mother grizzly leads one or two small cubs, moving slowly across the tundra. But do not mistake that deliberate pace for weakness. When the scent of a newborn caribou reaches a grizzly, the bear shifts instantly into predatory mode. Approaching carefully upwind, it works to separate a calf from its mother with terrifying, methodical patience. The explosive power and speed of a grizzly bear overwhelms a newborn caribou entirely, especially those not yet steady on their feet, mere hours after birth. Pressure from grizzlies forces caribou to shift their calving grounds continuously from year to year. They never calve in the same location 2 seasons, running a survival lesson encoded in instinct. Every calf taken by a grizzly is a direct loss for the next generation. Calf survival rates during the first 2 weeks determine the herd's strength for years to come. But the grizzly bear is not the only apex predator stirring from dormancy as the days lengthen and the ice retreats. From the shores of Herschel Island, where sea ice is fracturing into vast slabs, an enormous creature begins moving inland. The polar bear, weighing between 770 and 1,100 pounds, standing roughly 5 feet at the shoulder, is the largest bear living within Yukon's borders. Having evolved from brown bears during the Pleistocene, the polar bear carries coarse white fur, massive paddle-like paws, and curved razor-sharp claws, the perfect arsenal for an icy world. In spring, polar bears hunt seals at fractures in the sea ice, patiently staking out breathing holes where seals surface for air. But as the ice continues to melt, polar bears are forced ashore. On land, they shift to hunting caribou calves, scavenging carcasses, or consuming whatever they can find. Climate change is rewriting the polar bear's schedule. They come ashore earlier, remain on land longer, in a habitat that was never naturally theirs. And on land, polar bears must contend with grizzlies, smaller bears, but more aggressive, and far more familiar with the terrain. Grizzlies can drive polar bears off a kill through sheer aggression and home field advantage. The ice giant becomes the underdog on dry ground. 2 bear species, the grizzly with brute dominance on land, the polar bear with imposing mass arriving from the sea, operating across overlapping terrain on the same coastal plain. Both target caribou calves. Both are ravenous after the long winter, and the Beaufort Plain becomes a battleground where caribou mothers must defend their young at any cost. Caribou mothers do not retreat. They charge with antlers, strike with hooves, shield with their own bodies, regardless of the predator's overwhelming size. Not every encounter ends in the bear's favor. Some caribou mothers drive off even grizzlies, forcing the predator to seek easier targets. That courage is not a choice made in the moment, it is instinct, forged across millennia. Every calf that survives is a victory for the herd, for the bloodline, for the species. As spring turns to summer, the surviving calves grow stronger, legs steadier, eyes sharper, and the instinct to run already woven into every muscle fiber. Grizzly bear or polar bear, which is more fearsome on the Beaufort Plain, Let WildVerse know in the comments below. Spring ends with a paradox that defines the Yukon ecosystem. The season of renewal is also the season of greatest killing. But that is how this wilderness operates, life and death, intertwined in every breath. And as daylight stretches to 18 hours, as temperatures reach the 60s Fahrenheit, Yukon enters its shortest yet most radiant season, summer. On the highest peaks, where temperatures plummet too low and winds blow too fiercely for any tree to take root, another world awaits entirely. Alpine tundra, from 3,000 to 8,000 feet above sea level, is the domain of creatures that choose to remain in the harshest place of all. From June through August, daylight extends 18 to 22 hours each day. Temperatures range from the low 40s to the upper 70s Fahrenheit, the only warm season of the year. Wildflowers, lichen and short grasses bloom within a fleeting window of 45 to 90 days. Every day counts, no creature dares waste one. Dall sheep, the Alpine's resident experts, stand on sheer cliff faces as though gravity does not exist. Standing 3 feet at the shoulder, rams weigh 155 to 245 pounds with massive curling horns. Ewes are lighter, 100 to 150 pounds, but no less adapted to the vertical world. Ewes choose the highest, steepest cliffs to give birth, where no predator dares climb. Absolute safety, but at the price of total isolation. The NDVI index, a satellite-measured vegetation greenness metric, directly determines Dall lamb survival rates. In years when alpine vegetation is poor, lamb mortality spikes. Dall sheep feed on sedge, willow, and moss, regulating the alpine plant community in their own way, maintaining balance in the high-elevation ecosystem. As the climate warms, shrub species are creeping upward, encroaching on alpine tundra. The traditional food sources of Dall sheep may shift within coming decades. Dall sheep respond by adjusting their elevation, with the seasons climbing higher in summer, descending lower in winter. That adaptability has sustained them for thousands of years. But in the vast alpine sky above, a pair of extraordinarily keen eyes watches every movement on the slopes below. The golden eagle king of the Yukon summer sky nests on sheer cliff faces, where strong winds and panoramic sightlines span dozens of miles. Nests are reused year after year, positioned discreetly, beyond the reach of every ground predator. Each nest is an aerial fortress. By late April, golden eagles lay 1 to 2 eggs, 45 days of incubation, then 65 to 80 days of rearing, the entire summer devoted to the next generation. Between the 7th and 9th weeks, parents teach their young to fly. Encouraging wing beats, short hops from the nest's edge, then the first glides along precipitous cliff walls. Parents drop live prey into the nest to train attack reflexes. The mother swoops past her fledgling, feigning strikes, activating the combat instinct every eagle must possess to survive. The golden eagle's signature hunting technique is the contour flight skimming 3 to 15 feet above the terrain, then diving on prey before it even registers the threat. Against dhole lambs, the eagle approaches from below, gripping the back or neck, using weight and talons to exhaust the young sheep before delivering the final blow. Against adult mountain goats on cliff faces, golden eagles employ a push-off tactic, diving in to shove prey off the ledge. Once it falls, gravity finishes the job. Powerful talons, devastating dive speed, and tactical intelligence, the golden eagle poses an unceasing threat from above to every alpine creature. But not every high-altitude resident lives in fear. The hoary marmot, the largest rodent of the alpine zone, has its own solution. Hibernating 8 months of every year, hoary marmots are active for roughly 90 days each summer. That is all the time they have to eat, mate, raise young, and store reserves. Silver-grey fur, stocky build, they devour grasses, wildflowers, and roots without pause. Every day is a race to accumulate fat for the 8 months of sleep ahead. The hoary marmot's distinctive warning whistle rings across mountainsides whenever an eagle appears, a natural alarm system that protects the entire colony. Summer is the most social season for hoary marmots. They play, mate, and defend territory, living 90 days as though it were an entire lifetime. On the sweeping plains below, caribou capitalize on every hour of summer. They climb to windswept ridges to escape clouds of mosquitoes and horseflies, packing on 10 to 15% of their body weight each month. Caribou calves survivors from the spring learn by following the herd, choosing food, and reading predator signals. The fat they store during summer will determine whether they live or die the following winter. But summer in Yukon also serves as a sobering reminder that this ancient land is changing. Permafrost is thawing at accelerating rates. Ground is subsiding. Methane and mercury leaching into the ecosystem from soil locked for millennia. Herschel Island is being forced to relocate cultural heritage before the coastline erodes away. Destabilized hydrology threatens both Chinook, salmon, and indigenous communities living along the Yukon River. Shrubs invade the tundra, wildfire frequency rises, red foxes push their territory northward, all living proof that climate change is redrawing Yukon's ecological map. Porcupine, caribou, and Chinook, salmon, two iconic migrants, face habitat loss and food instability greater than at any point in recorded history. But Yukon has not surrendered. The Our Clean Future strategy targets a 45% reduction in emissions from 2010 levels, aiming for 97% renewable electricity before 2030. The YRITWC Council monitors water quality across the Yukon River. The 7-year Chinook fishing moratorium, sacrificing the present to save the future, targets 71,000 fish passing the border. Indigenous knowledge held by the Gwich'in and Vuntut Gwich'in, accumulated across thousands of years, is now merging with modern science in a conservation effort unlike any before. And so the great seasonal circle closes once more, as it has for millennia. As the first leaves turn to burnished gold across the taiga, as temperatures begin their long descent, the porcupine caribou turns southward once again. 143,000 pairs of hooves begin the 1,500-mile trek once more through tundra, through forest, and over mountain passes worn smooth by the passage of countless generations. Every species, every season, every strategy carries a price that must be paid in full. Stay or go. Nature never answers that question. It simply watches and records who survives. But the cycle has never stopped turning, and it never will, so long as Yukon remains wild, untamed, and free. Thank you for joining WildVerse. The natural world still holds countless stories waiting to be told. We will see you on the next journey. For those who have not yet subscribed, now is the perfect time. Hit subscribe and the notification bell to never miss a story from WildVerse. Africa, a continent ancient, vast, and wild, where the very land breathes with stories older than time itself. Here, under an endless sky and across landscapes that stretch to the horizon, survival is a daily struggle written in dust, shadow, and blood. This is a kingdom ruled by the ultimate predators. Here, the sun is not merely a star in the sky. It is a principal character in this drama. Its light nurtures life, yet its heat can mercilessly take it away. The land itself is a predator, ensnaring the unprepared, with prolonged droughts and sudden, sweeping floods. Every grain of dust carries a story of a struggle that is past. A fiery sky casts its brilliant glow upon the tranquil waters of the Rufiji River. But this stillness is a deception. The throne of the savannah belongs to one species alone. The lion. Unlike other solitary hunters, they form social groups known as prides. They draw their strength from the deep bonds shared between its members. At the heart of the pride are the lionesses, the true backbone of their society. They are responsible for some 90% of the pride's successful hunts. Raising the young is a communal effort. Gestures like grooming or an affectionate head rub reinforce unity and reduce tension. But leadership in a lion pride is never granted. It is won through brutal combat. For young males, life is harsh. At 2 to 3 years of age, they are cast out, forced to wander in search of a kingdom of their own. To improve their chances, males often form coalitions. When battle commences, the male lions collide with a raw, explosive force. Razor-sharp claws tear at thick hide, and powerful jaws aim for the throat. As many as 25% of adult male lions lose their lives in these territorial wars. When a new coalition rises to power, its victory extends beyond mere territory. It must assert its dominance through a brutal process. Their first act is infanticide, the systematic elimination of all cubs sired by the defeated males. It is a cruel but effective strategy to erase the previous leader's bloodline and bring the females back into estrus. This transfer of power is a dramatic and often violent upheaval that shakes the very foundation of the pride. For the lionesses, it is a moment of profound tragedy and reluctant acceptance. Their maternal instincts scream in desperation, but the drive to survive compels them to submit to the new rulers. The future of the pride now rests on their willingness to accept these new kings. And on the savannah, the division of a meal reflects the hierarchy of power. The males are given the privilege of eating first. Only after they are satisfied do the lionesses who made the kill have their turn. Finally, the cubs are permitted to gnaw on what remains. When food is scarce, tensions escalate and the competition becomes merciless. This is a kingdom built on power, but that power is ever fragile. Beneath the cool riverbanks, where the flooded gallery forest holds moisture year-round, a giant lies submerged, silent and still. Pods of hippopotamus rest in the cool shallows. Their colossal bodies are concealed by the murky water, waiting for the fall of night and the call of the land. They surface only for a moment, taking a breath every few minutes before vanishing once more beneath the river's calm facade. Despite their placid appearance, few creatures would dare confront a fully grown hippopotamus. Weighing up to nearly 4,000 pounds, with jaws that can open to an astonishing 150 degrees, the hippo is the living embodiment of raw power. They are not predators, but when provoked, they can fell even the largest of crocodiles. Within this river giant lies an oceanic secret, a story of a path not taken. Millions of years ago, its ancestors stood at a fork in the river of time. One path led to the deep oceans and to the whale. The other remained bound to the land and the river, evolving into the hippopotamus of today. They are two answers to the same ancient question, forever separated by their choices. But they still whisper to one another in a shared language of water. Both communicate underwater using low frequencies, give birth in the water, and possess a remarkable ability to hold their breath. Sharing these waters is another figure, a predator with the patience of time itself, the Nile crocodile. Patient and silent, it lies in wait just below the surface, with only its eyes, ears, and nostrils exposed. Perfectly still, perfectly ready, it awaits that fatal moment when an unsuspecting animal comes to the water's edge to drink. This jaw is evolution's ultimate commitment to a single, final act. All of its power is channeled into the closing snap. In this brutal trade-off, the strength to open has been sacrificed for the absolute power to hold fast. It is a weapon designed only to end a struggle, never to begin one gently. And in hidden nests along the riverbank, the sun itself plays God. The fate of an entire generation is decided not by genetics, but by the warmth of the sand. A slight shift in temperature is enough to tip the balance, determining whether a dynasty of kings or queens will emerge from the shells. Leaving the humid riverine forests, the landscape opens into the vast grasslands of Nyerere National Park. In this sun-scorched land, the African elephant does not just exist, it transforms its environment. Deeply social creatures, elephants live in tight-knit herds, led by an experienced matriarch. Her leadership is not earned through dominance. It is forged from wisdom. An elephant's trunk is a lifeline, with more than 40,000 muscles enabling it to perform a multitude of tasks. Their extraordinary spatial memory maps out the location of dozens of water sources, a vital advantage during prolonged droughts. But much of their language is a secret, carried on low-frequency rumbles inaudible to the human ear. These sounds travel for miles through the ground, carrying warnings, greetings, and even sorrow. It is an invisible network of communication, a silent conversation of giants. They engage in complex greeting ceremonies and mourn their dead with profound expressions of grief. As the elephants fade into the horizon, a new chapter begins. From the grasses, towering silhouettes emerge. The African buffalo, stepping onto the Great Plains like ancient warriors. In the wet season, they gather in colossal herds, sometimes thousands strong. This spectacular sight is, in fact, a strategy for survival. Because they are a favored target of this land's true rulers. On the arid savannas of Nyerere, the lion's hunt is not just an instinct. It is a masterclass in coordination and strategy. Here, hunting is a calculated team effort. The prides move silently through the tall miombo grasses, a perfect natural camouflage for the ambush to come. The lionesses, swift and agile, initiate the stalk and execute complex flanking maneuvers. When the time comes to bring down a formidable target like a buffalo, it is the males who surge forward. A recent study revealed that buffalo account for up to 56% of successful lion hunts in these arid regions. When danger looms, the young are sheltered in the heart of the buffalo herd. Meanwhile, the strongest bulls form a living wall on the outer ring. These guardians do not flee, they fight. Armed with curved horns and raw muscle, they will readily confront and even repel an entire pride of lions. But in the wild, no meal is ever guaranteed. Just as the lion settles to enjoy its prize, cunning eyes have been watching the drama unfold from a distance. In such cases, there is only one prime suspect, the spotted hyena. Often misrepresented as mere scavengers, hyenas are, in fact, among Africa's most successful hunters. Of lions, sharing nearly 60% of the same food sources. Small hunting parties, often of 2 to 5 individuals, target medium-sized prey. They can pursue their quarry at speeds of up to 37 miles per hour. The spotted hyena possesses the most powerful bite of any land carnivore in its family, capable of crushing even the largest bones. With hearing that can detect sounds from over 6 miles away, they hold a distinct tactical advantage. But on the vast plains, there can be only one true sprinter. The cheetah, the fastest land animal on Earth. His body is engineered for the perfect sprint. Long legs, a light frame, and a flexible spine create a spring for explosive movement. Unlike other big cats, the cheetah's claws are only semi-retractable, acting much like the spikes on an athlete's shoe. This provides superb traction with the ground, allowing for explosive acceleration and sharp turns at high speed. But what it gains in speed, it sacrifices in strength. It cannot defend its kill against more powerful rivals. Its lightweight skull results in a weaker bite, limiting its ability to hunt large prey. This fragility extends to the genetic level. The species has endured severe genetic bottlenecks, leaving today's population with extremely low genetic diversity. Speed is both a blessing and a burden. Its burst is short, lasting only 20 to 30 seconds before the risk of overheating threatens collapse. And while the cheetah excels in the chase, it falters in the aftermath. It lacks the power to defend its kill, and its solitude leaves it vulnerable. In stark contrast to the cheetah's solitary sprint is the unity of the African wild dog. They hunt not alone, but as a pack in perfect coordination. A recent study in Nyerere documented 141 wild dogs distributed across 24 packs. They are elite pursuit predators with a staggering success rate of 60 to 90%. They far outperform lions or leopards. Each hunt unfolds like a perfectly choreographed symphony. Members communicate through a series of high-pitched chirps, keeping track of every pack member's position. They can sustain a relentless chase for several miles, gradually exhausting their prey. But perhaps their most extraordinary trait lies not in how they hunt, but in their compassion. In wild dog society, care is shared. Adults will regurgitate food, not only for the pups, but also for the old or injured members of the pack. Nyerere now supports the largest known population of African wild dogs across the continent. They flow over the savannah like a living current, a testament to the power of unity. As the sun sets, a phantom of the woodlands begins its patrol. The leopard, a solitary figure of silence and grace. Where the lion roars to proclaim its power, the leopard commands with an absence of sound. Its golden coat, dappled with black rosettes, merges with bark and shadow. To many creatures, it does not exist until it is too late. It is a fleeting thought at the corner of the eye, a ghost born of moonlight and dust. Silence is its deadliest weapon. However, the short grasses of the dry season limit its cover. So the leopard turns to another stage, the waterholes, where thirst draws all life together. And here, the leopard waits. At night, its world expands. When the hunt begins, the leopard becomes a shadow pressed to the earth. Each footstep is a whisper, closing the distance with a surgeon's precision. A single pounce, and the silence is broken. Large prey is subdued with a suffocating bite to the throat. Contrasting with this low-slung recluse is a creature that dominates the skyline in its own way, the giraffe. This height advantage means the giraffe does not compete directly with other grazers. But what it gains in height, it pays for in agility. Drinking poses a particular challenge, forcing it into one of the animal kingdom's most vulnerable positions. Yet, nature has equipped it with extraordinary adaptations. A complex system of valves in its arteries manages blood flow along its long neck. Its heart, a 24-pound engine, generates the enormous pressure required to pump blood to the brain. In the dry season, when water becomes scarce, they are forced to venture to exposed waterholes. Here, they become easy targets for ambushing lions or lurking crocodiles. Yet even this giant of the savannah is now under threat. The Maasai giraffe is now listed as endangered, its numbers having fallen by nearly half in the last 3 decades. Enter the world of the puff adder, a master of ambush and the silent stalker of the grasslands. When threatened, the snake inflates its body and emits a deep, menacing hiss. Its venom is cytotoxic, causing severe tissue damage. According to the World Health Organization, the puff adder remains a leading cause of fatal snake bites in Africa. Yet even this formidable serpent is not invincible. For one remarkable bird, the puff adder's stealth is no match. The secretary bird, a ruler of the ground. It is a specialist snake hunter, even of the most lethal species. Its secret weapon, a devastating kick. Its attacks are often aimed with uncanny precision at the prey's head or neck, neutralizing the threat in an instant. And where there is death, there are the cleaners. When a hunt concludes, dark shapes descend from the sky like silent mourners. These are the marabou storks, creatures both grotesque and essential. It is the undertaker of the savannah. Its bare head and neck are a necessary adaptation, allowing it to perform its duties without contamination. They often work in tandem with vultures. While vultures use their beaks to tear through hide, the marabou uses its long bill to probe deep into crevices. This silent collaboration forms a hierarchy of scavenging, ensuring that nothing goes to waste. By consuming carcasses, they cleanse the environment of decay and disease. They recycle death back into life. From the high treetops along the Rufiji River, the unmistakable call of the African fish eagle rings out. It is the anthem of this land. Each dawn brings new stories of courage, competition, and resilience. Each sunset whispers of the hard-fought struggle for survival under a fading sun. The predators are not destroyers. They are the guardians of balance, the unseen architects of an ancient world. They quietly maintain the web of life, a web that is both powerful and delicate. Yet, a new predator now stalks this ancient land, one whose shadow stretches across continents. This balance, forged over millennia, is now more fragile than ever. Its future is written not in the stars, but in choices made far beyond this endless horizon. This is not just the story of the predators. This is the story of Africa itself. Majestic, mysterious, and eternal. The body of the Thomson's gazelle is a biological machine optimized over millions of years of evolution. Its long legs and flexible muscles allow it to reach astounding speeds of up to 50 miles per hour. This speed is not just a number. It is the line between life and death in every chase. Natural selection has honed this animal into one of the fastest sprinters on the planet. They live in small groups, maintaining constant vigilance against every rustle of the grass. During the breeding season, these small groups merge into a colossal army that covers the horizon. Their organized movement is a highly effective collective defense tactic. Each individual in the herd acts as an early warning system, watching every angle around them. When faced with death, they use a spectacular zigzag running tactic to confuse their enemies. Sharp turns at high speed can frustrate even the fastest cheetahs. In the Serengeti ecosystem, the Thompson's gazelle holds a central role in the complex food web. They are an important source of protein for large predators such as lions and hyenas. The breeding season is the most vulnerable time, when newborn calves become easy targets. The young, with their light brown coats and distinctive black stripes, have a remarkable ability to camouflage. They lie motionless among the short grass clumps, awaiting protection from their mothers and nature. This hiding strategy helps increase their chances of survival during the perilous first weeks of life. Thompson's gazelles not only eat grass, but they can also consume low-lying shrubs when conditions become harsh. Their ability to absorb water from plants allows them to survive without needing to seek out water sources frequently. By grazing, they act as gardeners, controlling the growth of the vegetation. This creates space for new plant species to grow, maintaining the biodiversity of the grasslands. Their presence helps to improve soil quality, supporting the sustainable development of the entire system. When the rainy season arrives, the brilliant light shines upon the proudly moving herds of plain zebra. The image of thousands of zebras moving in long lines across the vast landscape is a breathtaking sight. An estimated 200,000 zebras converge in Ndutu at the peak of the migration. Their distinctive black and white striped coats are one of nature's greatest masterpieces. These vertical and horizontal stripes create a visual disturbance, making it difficult for predators to single out a target. Additionally, this coat helps to minimize attacks from harmful, disease-carrying insects. Plains zebras can be found in many places, but it is in Nodutu that they truly thrive. At this medium altitude, the low vegetation provides a stable, year-round food source. The 20 inches of annual rainfall is sufficient to regenerate the fertile grasslands for the large herds. The social life of the zebra is tightly organized around small family groups. A powerful lead stallion is responsible for protecting and leading the females and their young. During the breeding season, this bond creates incredibly stable and united social structures. Unlike wildebeest, zebras employ a flexible, year-round breeding strategy. This helps them to distribute resources efficiently and reduce competition for food. The gestation period lasts over a year to ensure that the foal is born in the best possible condition. Just a few hours after birth, a zebra foal can stand and run with the herd to stay safe. This rapid maturation is a key factor in their survival in an environment teeming with predators. Zebras act as pioneers in the grazer ecosystem. They graze on the tough upper layers of grass, exposing the soft, young shoots beneath for the antelope species. Their continuous grazing helps to maintain the stability and vitality of the Serengeti grasslands. Their dung enriches the soil, creating a habitat for millions of beneficial insects. To survive in this place full of threats, zebras need outstanding survival skills. They can reach speeds of 40 miles per hour to escape the clutches of a lion. When attacked, the entire herd often scatters in chaotic trajectories to disorient the predator. The adult zebras will form a protective circle, directing thunderous kicks towards the enemy. The symbiosis between zebras and wildebeest is one of the most remarkable supportive relationships. Zebras lead the way in search of new pastures, while wildebeest are adept at locating water sources. For the wildebeest, Ndutu is the stage for their most sacred phase, the mass birthing season. Blue wildebeest are known as the greatest marathon runners of the wild world. Over 1.5 million individuals participate in the arduous journey through the Serengeti and Masai Mara. The journey begins in Ndutu from January to March, when the rains fall and the green grass begins to rise. This is the time when a biological miracle occurs. Over 500,000 calves are born in a short period. On average, there are over 8,000 new births each day, turning the plains into a gigantic nursery. This event has a profound impact on the balance of the entire Serengeti and Ndutu ecosystem. Synchronized birthing is a clever evolutionary strategy to protect the species. Nearly 80% of the total calves of this species are born right here in the Ndutu area. This strategy creates a prey saturation phenomenon, paralyzing the hunting capabilities of predators. Even so, death always lurks for the newborns in this harsh environment. "40% of the calves will become a meal for lions and hyenas in their very first season. The harshness of nature turns every moment into an unending struggle for survival. From the moment they are born, wildebeest calves exhibit an incredible survival instinct. Just a few minutes after birth, they must stand up and move with the herd to avoid being left behind. This innate agility is a vital factor in helping them escape the clutches of waiting hunters. The wildebeest herds create a collective chaos that makes it difficult for predators to focus on a single target. Under the harsh Serengeti sun, the image of a cheetah crossing the plain appears like a phantom of speed. Each of its strides is a perfect combination of muscular power and the elegant beauty of nature. The cheetah is the fastest land animal on the planet, a masterpiece of biological engineering. Climate change and habitat loss have pushed them into their last strongholds in Africa. In the Serengeti, particularly Ndutu, the cheetah finds its ideal arena with wide open spaces. The short grasslands are home to Thompson's gazelles and wildebeest, their primary food sources. With a hunting success rate of nearly 50%, the cheetah is one of the most effective hunters. This efficiency comes from its ability to select a target and finish the job quickly. A hunt usually begins at a very short distance to optimize the explosive burst of energy. Once a target is identified, the cheetah begins a dramatic, high-speed chase. Its ability to accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3 seconds is a feat of nature. A lightweight bone structure and a flexible spine allow it to take long, powerful strides. Its long tail acts as a rudder, helping it to maintain balance during sharp turns at high speed. Semi-retractable claws act like spikes on a running shoe, gripping the arid ground. However, the price of extreme speed is the enormous energy expenditure of the body. A chase rarely lasts more than 30 seconds to prevent the body from overheating. After taking down its prey, the cheetah faces the risk of having it stolen by larger rivals. It is forced to eat quickly or drag the carcass to a secluded spot to avoid the prying eyes of lions and hyenas. By preying on small grazers, the cheetah helps to maintain the balance of the local vegetation. Its presence is a testament to the biodiversity and health of the Serengeti ecosystem. But the cheetah is facing serious threats from human encroachment. Conservation programs are working hard to maintain the natural habitat for this magnificent cat. As dusk falls, the roar of the male lion echoes across the savannah, declaring his dominion. That sound is not just a territorial warning, but also an assertion of the absolute power of the king. Weighing nearly 440 pounds, the Serengeti lion is the embodiment of strength and authority. The landscape of low grasslands and sparse thickets is their ideal operational terrain. Thanks to conservation efforts, the lion population in Nedutu has shown encouraging signs of recovery. A lion pride is typically organized in a tight social structure of 10 to 15 individuals. The females take on the primary roles of hunting and raising the future generation. Meanwhile, the dominant male is a steadfast bastion protecting the pride from external threats. Living in a pride helps lions increase their hunting efficiency and better protect their young from enemies like hyenas. However, the world of lions is not without its fierce internal power struggles. A dominant male can hear the roar of a rival from a distance of 5 miles. These battles for territory are often bloody, deciding the survival of an entire lineage. Lions are the only big cats with social behavior, allowing them to execute complex hunting tactics. Their preferred prey are large animals such as zebras, wildebeest, and buffalo. Despite their formidable strength, their hunting success rate is only around 30%. The lionesses often coordinate seamlessly, surrounding the prey from multiple sides to block any escape route. When faced with tough prey like buffalo, the strength of the males is called upon. The weight and bite of a male lion can bring down giants that the females cannot handle alone. A large kill is enough to feed the entire lion family for several days. After the king's feast, the characteristic sneeze of the African wild dog begins to sound in the night. The African wild dog is the most critically endangered predator. Their existence is threatened by habitat loss and fierce competition from lions. Once declared extinct in the Serengeti in 1992, they are slowly returning thanks to reintroduction efforts. African wild dogs are a symbol of speed, endurance, and absolute solidarity. A pack of wild dogs can travel 12 miles a day in search of a target. Their social structure is based on high levels of cooperation, where the entire pack cares for the young and injured individuals. Only the alpha pair is allowed to reproduce, while the other members act as hunters and nannies. Their hunting skill is not based on explosive power, but on relentless persistence to the very end. With a speed of 44 miles per hour, they chase their prey until the target is completely exhausted. The wild dog's hunting success rate reaches an astonishing 80%, a remarkable figure in the natural world. They play an important role in regulating grazer populations and preventing overgrazing. The leftovers from their hunts are a valuable food source for vultures and jackals. Not only the grasslands, but salt lakes like Lake Ndutu are also incredibly important biological hotspots. As dawn breaks, thousands of lesser flamingos create a soft pink ribbon on the water's surface. They travel hundreds of miles in search of mineral-rich salt lakes for feeding. The high salinity and alkalinity of the lake are the perfect environment for the growth of spirulina algae. The lesser flamingo has evolved a specialized filter in its beak to exploit this food source. Their legs have a special skin that helps to resist the corrosive effects of the saltwater and highly alkaline environment. By feeding on algae, they help to prevent eutrophication and protect the water quality of the lake. Their cohesive social behavior helps flamingos to maintain safety and synchrony during their long migrations. Besides the flamingo, the grey-crowned crane is also a symbol of beauty in the Ndutu wetlands. Its vibrant golden crest makes the grey-crowned crane look like aristocrats strolling through the grasslands. They perform elegant courtship dances to strengthen their strong pair bonds. The grey-crowned crane is the only species in the crane family capable of perching and nesting in tall trees. They have a varied diet, from seeds to insects and small amphibians in the marshlands. The presence of the grey-crowned crane is an important indicator of the health of the wetland ecosystem. However, this beautiful bird is seriously threatened by the shrinking of wetland areas. Leaving Ndutu, the Grumeti River in the Western Corridor is home to fearsome aquatic predators. Nile crocodiles, monsters from the Jurassic era, are silently waiting beneath the murky waters. At 20 feet long, they possess the most powerful bite force in the modern animal world. Each migration season, the Grumeti River becomes a deadly bottleneck for the wildebeest herds. Crocodiles use the death roll technique to take down large prey in an instant. They are masters of fasting, able to survive for months on stored energy alone. The Nile crocodile plays a role in controlling ungulate populations and cleaning up carcasses in the river. Grumeti is also a fierce battleground for territory between crocodiles and the giant hippos. Hippos, though herbivores, top the list of the most dangerous animals to humans. Weighing 1.5 tons, they are the third heaviest land animal in Africa. Hippos share a surprisingly close evolutionary relationship with modern whales and dolphins. Their thick skin secretes a red fluid that helps protect their bodies from the sun. They spend most of the day in the water to regulate their body temperature and protect their young. Hippos are great ecological engineers. Their dung provides nutrients for the entire river system. The trails created by hippos become corridors of movement for many other animal species. In the western corridor, the chilling laughter of the spotted hyena signals a new struggle for survival. Spotted hyenas are not just scavengers. They are highly sophisticated cooperative hunters. The hyena's hunting success rate reaches 70%, far surpassing that of the lion king. They possess extremely powerful jaws, with enough pressure to crush the toughest buffalo bones. Hyena society is dominated by females, exhibiting a strict matriarchal structure. They act as the sanitation workers of the savannah, helping to prevent the spread of disease. High in the sky, Ruppel's griffon vulture is soaring at a record altitude of 36,000 feet. Their superhuman vision allows them to spot a carcass from a distance of over 4 miles. A flock of vultures can completely clean a wildebeest carcass in just 30 short minutes. They help to recycle nutrients back into the soil, supporting the growth of grass in the next season. The marabou stork, the undertaker bird, also lines up quietly along the riverbank, waiting for its share. A wingspan of 12 feet helps them to glide effortlessly over the vast spaces of the Serengeti. They play a crucial role in removing decomposing organic matter from the water environment. In the northern Serengeti, the Lobo area offers a wild beauty with its rocky, hilly terrain. The mix of bushland and grassland creates an ideal refuge for hoofed animals. September to October is when the reverse migration from Kenya back to Tanzania passes through this land.